Hey, beautiful people. Good to talk to you in the new year. I hope everyone's new year is off to a beautiful start and you have a very clear vision of what your intentions are for this coming year. I know I do, at least. As always, this is Sex with Everyone, and I am your host, Riley. Today, I am talking with Goddess B and Slut Boy from Richmond, Virginia. And they have a pretty unique story. I really adore these people. I've known them for a few years now. And they got married, and it wasn't for a couple more years after that that Goddess B discovered that Slut Boy was hiding something pretty significant from her behind her back, and that he had this hidden passion for seeing mistresses and doing BDSM. And instead of completely flying off the handle and divorcing him and all of those things that can happen, she wanted to understand. She wanted to understand what this passion was about for him and what he got out of it. And so she wanted to make it work with him. And since then, it has been a beautiful journey for both of them, discovering kink in new ways together as a couple. So I really hope you guys enjoy it. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Please join me as I talk about sex with Goddess B and Slut Boy. Today I am here with Goddess B and Slut Boy. Thank you guys so much for doing this with me. I'm so happy right now.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Yeah. It's a pleasure. It's a first.
Right, first podcast?
Yes, yes.
We were talking yesterday about your story, and I realized yesterday I only know bits and pieces of it. So I would really love to just kind of start from the beginning, if that's okay with you guys, and just hear what your story is.
That's fine. I guess I'm just a little surprised you consider it a story. It's just,
this is how you referenced it as.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we got married a little bit later in life.
Yeah. What is a little bit, like, how old were you guys?
Oh, I was approximately 50.
Yeah.
And she was 45.
Yeah.
I was single, never been married before. She was divorced. Kind of went on. Things were fine. Everything was good. You know, life just proceeds as normal. And somewhere around the, I don't know.
Fifth year
or so. Yeah. It was one of those, well, you know, in my mind, it was like, well, let's kind of expand our sexual repertoire and to see where we would go to see. So of course, my first question was, what are your fantasies? And she was like, well, I don't have any. And I'm like, what? No, that can't be right.
Yeah.
So
was that true? You didn't have any?
I didn't.
Yeah.
You know,
you were just saying.
I just came from a family that we didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
I got married at a very young age. And I raised 2 children, and no one had asked me anything about anything, any sexual thing. You know, you really didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
When I first met Slut Boy, I knew something was different with him. You know, you would always find these videos, movies, pictures, books all tucked away, hidden, but they weren't hidden very well. So I knew there was something different about him. I just didn't know what it was.
So anyway, I guess my background was, even before I'd seen her, I had been seeing DOMs. I've always been interested in Dom sub relationship and the different aspects of it. So
when did that start for you?
It was by snail mail. I know that.
To be
really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There was no
to be
internet.
honest with you, looking back on it, my first BDSM Slave Master DS whatever themed book was a paperback.
Yeah.
And I remember I found it in a bookstore kind of downtown, and I read it and I got a thrill. Didn't know why, but I got a thrill out of it. So, that may have been when I was in high school, to be honest with you.
Okay, yeah.
So that was the first inklings of it. And anyway, took off, went later on through life. And then when I got into my 30s, I guess I got interested. No, it was in my 20s because I remember my first, and again, this was all paper and everything else. The first Dom I ever met her by snail mail. It was an advertisement in the back of an adult magazine. And believe it or not, she was in South Carolina and I was in Arkansas. But we finally found a way to get together and I enjoyed it. But it was the distance there, it just didn't work. So it was one of those things about it flared up and then it flared back down again. And there was always an interest. It was kind of always an undercurrent kind of running through there. But I never really talked about it with the people that I dated or was involved with. And then finally, fast forward, I ran into, met a mistress by the name of Mistress Brianna that was close enough that ended up having a relationship and enjoyed. I mean, it was strictly professional, but it was my introduction into the different aspects of it. And that continued. I was seeing her when I met Goddess B. Yeah. And as our vanilla relationship continued on, that was kind of on the side. And it was just one of those things about, I kept meaning to mention it to her, but at the same time, there was always that fear about, oh my God, she's going to think I'm a pervert and leave me, and I don't want that. And so.
How long were you seeing Mistress
Brianna
for? Like, how old were you when you first started seeing her?
Oh, in my 40s. It was 3 years.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, 2-3 years, something like that.
And that was your first, like...
The first, that kind of a continuing. I mean, I'd seen a Dom sporadically. Like I said, it would flare up, but never really in long term. Yeah. And that was the only... up until now, the only long-term BDSM relationship that I had. Yeah. But it was great. We did a lot of exploration into different stuff and found some stuff I liked, found some stuff I didn't like. But it's like anybody say the stuff you like, you usually really like. Yeah. So met Goddess B. We started dating. We got serious. We got married.
Let me just mention that you neglected to tell me before I married you that you had this hidden passion. Yeah. So I kind of knew I had no idea about mistresses. I had no concept at all of what any of that meant. And he neglected to tell me. And then we were married for about 5 years. Yeah. And he still hadn't told me. Mm. And then he was on a trip. He was gone for a while, and I needed the computer for something. And something popped up, Mistress Brianna. I went, Mistress Brianna, and I clicked on it. And evidently he had just seen her, had sent her flowers for a thank you. Mm-hmm. And all I could think of was that he was having an affair. Mm-hmm. We'd only been married 5 years. And he was having an affair. So I was devastated. Yeah. Completely devastated. Yeah. So I didn't know what to do. And he was gone on a trip. Right. So I don't know what happened when you got home from the trip.
Probably the shit hit the fan.
It did. Yeah, did you just blow up on him? Or no. How did you handle the situation?
No, I'm not... well, I thought he was having an affair, and I kind of... I was devastated. I stayed in bed for like a day and a half until he got home. And my mom was living with us at the time. And I had my daughter take her to the doctor or whatever to get her out of the house. And then I confronted him with it. And he was like, well, and that's when we finally sat down and had the conversation. Mm-hmm. Because I had no idea that this was the thing. I had no idea. I thought it was all sexual. He was having sex with this woman. Right. And, I was just devastated. So.
It wasn't, I didn't neglect to tell her. I was afraid. Yeah. I mean, that was, again, you stumbled into it and you got into it and it was just never really a right time. And I never felt comfortable because I did not know how she would accept it or wasn't necessarily accepting, but she'd even understand it. So that was an issue. Yeah. And we were finally forced to confront it with this. Yeah. And so anyway, she said, like she said, she thought it was just a typical mistress. Anybody who knows professionals knows it's not in your traditional sense of mistress. Mistress is more of a title. I offered I'll introduce you. Yeah. And introduce. So I tried to tell her, and she's looking at me like one eye arched up, going, "What are you trying to sell here?" So anyway, so I called up Mrs. and explained, and she said, "Oh yeah." So she met with us and went out and met and had dinner, and she got to ask questions. Went back to her dungeon, got to see that, and I think she obviously her impression of it changed.
Yeah. Well, and the sad part is I did not realize until I got into this lifestyle that a lot of couples that are married and they hide this from their partner, and then all of a sudden it comes out either accidentally or on purpose, whatever the reasons for. So the partner goes, "Oh no, I don't want any part of this. I want a divorce, or I don't want anything to do with you. That's gross." And when I married Slut Boy, it was till death do us part. Yeah. And I love him. And so he had this passion that I had to learn to accept because it was part of his life. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't fair for him not to have his lifestyle taken away from him just because I didn't like it or I didn't understand it. Yeah. So, and he explained it to me, and I discovered that it wasn't about sex at all. And Mistress Brianna sat down and explained, what they did, how they did it. And I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Yeah. And then I understood all the magazines and the movies and stuff that were
started clicking into place.
I'm like, okay, dummy, you're a dummy. I got this now. So then, Mistress Brianna went away for a while.
She retired.
Yeah, she retired. Okay. Yeah. And trying to find a dom to do couples is very difficult, and I wanted to learn.
So you, from the beginning, when everything came out and you were not over your hurt, but you were moving past your hurt and trying to understand.
Correct.
Coming from a place of curiosity and interest and
Correct.
wanting to make it work. You automatically knew that you were wanting to come at it from a toppy place? Your interest? Okay.
I had no idea.
Okay, when you say couples, you don't necessarily mean top or bottom. It's just... Take us both and let's figure it out together.
Exactly.
Okay.
I wanted to learn what made him tick.
I see.
And that stuff doesn't come with instructions.
No.
Yeah. No, he would hand me a toy and I go, what do you want me to do with this? I have no idea where to put this.
Right. Yeah.
So we searched and we actually met one mistress that was from Baltimore, Maryland, and she was a whack job. And I said, this can't be it. So then we found Mistress Ein, who is located in Atlanta. So, and then she was coming up to Virginia to have sessions and stuff. So we talked to her, and she was willing to take us on as a client. So that's kind of where we started.
Mm-hmm. And this was like 10-ish years ago?
Yeah.
About?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. So, we met together, and I was so nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to think I'm a whack job. And, but she was so educational and she was so understanding. And, she kind of took me by the hand and she said, okay, this is for this and this is what we're going to do with here. And he likes this. And, Slut Boy had, given her his list of do's and don'ts and things of that nature. And so I started participating in our sessions and I went down the rabbit hole. It was interesting. It was fun. Slut Boy enjoyed it immensely.
And so at that point you were like, okay, I like getting to the toppy part of it instead of necessarily wanting to bottom it.
Yeah.
Because doing couple sessions can be both people are bottoms.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
Exact. And I knew I didn't want to be the bottom.
Okay.
I wanted to.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be the top. I wanted to be the one in control.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You like that?
I'm not complaining.
And how was that for you going through this particular, transition of having your wife now being a part of it and like learning? And did you have any feelings around that, going through that experience with her when you thought that you never would be able to before?
I didn't say, not really one or the other. I mean, it was fun to have. I mean, the thing if you're involved with professional DOMs is it's whenever you can your schedules can work out. Mm-hmm. So sometimes that might be once a month, once every 3 months or whatever. But if you have your wife there with you, it can be when you both feel like it, mm-hmm. and you can kind of work into it. And so that was a good part of it. Mm-hmm. And also, I think in a lot of ways it was nice that the cat was out of the bag. It wasn't anybody that's ever tried to keep it secret will tell you that's is the wear and tear of trying to remember what you'd said, what you had said, it was all out. So that part of it, that tug was gone. Yeah. And that was freeing in some ways, mm-hmm. a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It was and it still is for a couple that plays together. It's very difficult. I was working, he was working, I'm in the mood, he wasn't in the mood, and it's not like when you go to a mistress, you have an appointment. It's Wednesday. So you're thinking about it all week, you're getting geared up for it, and you're ready to go on Wednesday. You're all excited. And it takes a lot of work to be a mistress. I mean, There's a lot of planning, a lot of homework to do. And Slut Boy here thought you could just do it on a turn of a dime. I'm in the mood.
Yes.
Let's go for it. I'm like, no, it can't be like that. Yeah. So, and he likes to be the bottom, but he likes the top from the bottom. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm like, that's not the way it's supposed to work.
Can you explain real quick what top from the bottom means?
Well, the bottom is usually the submissive person.
Yeah.
Okay. And the top is the person that's in control. And I'll admit at the time, and I still don't have all the knowledge that a mistress would have or a goddess would have. But he would say, no, don't do it that way, do it this way. Or, no, it's not that, it's this. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. Put a gag in your mouth. I'm going to put a ball in your mouth so you can't talk. Because even that would get frustrating because you're in the zone. You know what you're going to do. You have it all planned out in your head. And then he's like, no. I'm like, what do you mean no? You get 2 strikes for that.
Yeah. So you guys, it sounds like you went from seeing Mistress Ein to playing at home, like one-on-one, just the two of you.
Right.
Fairly quickly and trying to figure out what it is just between the two of you without that third
figure out how to work. Basically, because the issue with the couple sometimes is life gets in the way.
Yes.
Whether it's jobs, whether it's family, whether it's everything else, life gets in the way. And it's not, in your fantasy, it's like, okay, yeah, we'll do this all the time. But life won't let you do that. Yeah. I mean, I've heard about people that are 24/7, but that's just, that, number one, that's not us. And I don't think that's probably a lot of people. So the trick is trying to figure out how to work it into your life. And it's different for everybody. I mean, the only thing I will say about all of this is what works for us. Yeah. I mean, it may be different. As I say, your mileage may vary, but this is what works for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you guys went through that transition and it turns out you like it. Amazing.
I did.
Amazing. How has that now evolved in the last decade since going through that time together? And how has your relationship evolved since then?
Well, I mean, I feel sorry for people that are in this lifestyle and their spouses don't get it. Yeah. Because I'm sorry, you married this person, you love this person for sickness or health or in kink, period. If you don't like it or you don't want to participate in it, that's fine, but don't destroy your relationship because you don't get it. Most of the time with mistresses and goddesses and doms, it's not sexual. And I learned that very quickly. It has nothing to do with sex. It has to do with the want and the desire of the sub or the bottom. And her job is to achieve this goal with him. So he goes home or she goes home satisfied.
Hopefully they both go home satisfied.
Yeah. Well, that's true. It's still difficult for us to work it out in our real life. Although, thank God, we're both retired now, so it's a little bit easier. And the stresses of everyday work aren't in our minds, so it does make it a little bit easier. But what makes it really nice was that Mistress Ein kind of took me under her wing, and now I'm part of this amazing group of women that we just have a blast. I mean, we'll get together and get a sub, and they're like, "I'd get 2 for the price of 1." I was just like, "Oh my God!" And it really, I mean, it's very empowering for me to have a group of smart, beautiful women that just don't take any shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
So becoming a goddess has boosted your self-esteem and your
absolutely
confidence.
My confidence. I mean, I'm older, and I was older in life when I started this. I'm not a supermodel. When you go through and you look through magazines, you have this image of a goddess or a mistress. And they're supposed to be so beautiful and perfect bodies, and the perky little tits and, the whole 9 yards. So in reality, that's not how it is. You are just a human being, and you don't have to be perfect, and we come in all sizes and shapes, and that's just right. The way it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but it definitely, even in my professional life, it made a huge difference.
Really?
Oh yeah. When you just don't take crap from anybody anymore, and you stand up for yourself, and go, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm thinking, if you knew what I could do to you right now, you'd be on your knees. So don't mess with me.
I prefer to put it as she found her voice. And that, and the voice roars every now and then, and which is fine. I like that. That's good. I mean, I'm not someone who wants a meek and mild personality, and as you can tell, she isn't. So that, again, your mileage varies, but for me and for us, that works and works really well. And it's helped her confidence. She's found her voice, and there's a little pep in her step.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
How cool is that?
Which is yeah.
Yeah. Goddess, do you play with other people then? Just Slut Boy, or is it just the two of you, or?
No. A matter of fact, Slut Boy here is into this thing called Hot Wives, which I didn't know there was such a thing.
What is that?
Hot Wives?
Yeah.
It's when he's a cuckold, which means he wants me to go out and date or fuck other men, and then he likes it when I come home and I talk about it to him. We've kind of gone down that rabbit hole a little bit. It's a little bit more difficult for me because I'm kind of old-fashioned, and it's hard to trust men. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, you just have to be safe, and you got to be careful, and there's so many diseases and stuff out there that you really don't want to get involved in all that. We're kind of still exploring that, but it's not top of my list. But like I said, my girls that are down in Atlanta, I get invited down there to do sessions with other people, and it's amazing. Yeah. I mean, you get to womp on somebody. And you get to leave your little initials on their body, and it's very satisfying, and sometimes it's even a turn on. Yeah. You have all this activity going on, you're going, yeah, I'm a part of this.
Yeah. I'm curious, before you came into this world, have you ever pegged somebody before?
No. I didn't even know what it meant.
Yeah.
So,
So pegging is with a strap on, fucking man, anally. Yes. What was it like for you to do that for the first time?
It was the most exciting thing that I had ever done.
Really?
Yes. And it was so empowering to me to strap on this big dick.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have the power now.
Yeah.
This dick gives me the power.
Yeah.
And you're just going to bend over and take it. So.
What was I saying about her voice?
As the resident person that took it.
Yes, and he takes it very well.
It roared.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was very, I mean, I loved it.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird, but.
Why is that weird?
When you grow up, and I was so vanilla. Missionary style was the only thing I knew. And now the roles have returned, and I get to play the male. Mm-hmm. And, males always think that they have the power, but they don't. Mm-hmm. They don't. Sometimes we have to have the power.
Yeah.
So.
That's so cool. I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah.
And I just find it so fascinating that you were just so willing to just be open-minded, to hear what he was passionate about and the things that he did, even though, yes, that involved a lot of hurt along the way up until that point.
Yeah.
You were willing to try and make it work and figure it out. And it turns out that it's something that you fucking love and have gained so much from that lifestyle and the experiences that you're having. And it's really empowered you in a lot of ways, which is fucking rad.
What's really nice is the circle of friends that I have gathered along the way. Mm-hmm. They're so passionate and they're so loving. And for people that have closed minds to think that there's something wrong with these people, and I don't want anything to do with them, they're gross or whatever. I'm like, you really need to open your eyes and your heart, because these people are just like everybody else. Yeah. They love passionately and they love what they do. Mm-hmm. And when they're your friend, they're your friend. Mm-hmm. So, you shouldn't judge any book by its cover to begin with. Mm-hmm. But, I've been very fortunate that I've gotten a group of girls and a group of guys, and it's a great life.
Yeah.
Great life.
It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
It's playful. There's a lot of play and like laughter and joy in it. It doesn't have to be such a serious
correct
sort of thing. I mean, it can be, and that's also hot and fun sometimes too, but I think a lot of people from the outside that aren't aware of what it's actually like there's a lot of joy in it as well, and connection and love and
some people will say, well, what do I get out of this? Well, I get a happy wife. And what they say, happy wife, happy life.
Right.
And so that's really added a lot to, and it's something we share. Yeah. It's something that's between us. So it's something we intimately share. Mm-hmm. And it's just between us. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot, if it's done correct, there's something in it for everybody.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So
you just have to have an open mind about it.
Yeah.
And like I said before, it just hurts me so much, and I see it all the time. For example, I have a friend that's bi, and his wife left him. And I'm like, I don't understand that. I mean, like, just because he has another preference doesn't mean he doesn't not love you. You're still husband and wife. You still have a duty to each other. Yeah, he has this other desire that obviously he needs. But, you just have to work it out. I mean, you can't give up your whole life just because somebody wants something different.
Yeah.
You promised that you're going to take care of each other. And Slut Boy and I have been through crap that most people never even see in our lifetime. I mean, we have just been through some shit that I just thought we would never get through. But we have stood by each other's sides and held each other's hand through this whole thing called life. And I'm just not going to give up.
Yeah.
I mean, life is too short. So,
yeah.
Yep.
And Slut Boy, for you, like going from the experience of having this passion and hobby and you know, whatever kink. With kink with a mistress on the down low, very secretive, and now it's out and open and shared with your wife and everything. Like, what has that transition been like for you?
Well, it's like I said earlier, it was free.
Yeah.
That's probably the best way. I guess it took a load off. I mean, you know, like as she said, there's a lot of marriages, there's a lot of spouses who won't accept that, and that is the conundrum to someone who you love your wife, but they don't like or care for this side of you. So you hide it, and that takes a toll. I think when you try to hide anything from someone that you love, that it takes a toll on you. Yeah. And so, and it's just something I think that could possibly eat away at a relationship. Yeah. Eventually in the long term. Yeah. Maybe so, maybe not. Like I said, everybody's different, but it definitely puts landmines on possibility going forward. Mm-hmm. So by coming out again, you eliminate, hopefully some of those landmines from your relationship. So it's been, and it's fun. I mean, we have a language that we speak that between us and some of the friends, but most of the people don't understand it and don't know. And it's kind of like an inside joke between us. You know, it's our thing between us. And that's kind of fun. I guess a lot of couples have, but for us, that's what it is for us. Yeah. And,
quick story. When I first found out about his lifestyle and I wanted to learn, so I bought all these books, you know, that have all the terms and all that stuff so I would know about it. And we were going up to New Jersey to play golf with some friends of ours. And I was we were driving, and I'm reading this book out loud to him so he can explain to me what certain things were. And we were just talking, communicating. He was driving and I'm reading, and then all of a sudden we look up and it's like, we missed our exit like an hour ago.
Yeah.
We were so involved in what we were talking about.
Amazing.
Yeah, because our friends call and say, "Where are you?" And we're like,
we took a wrong turn.
Yeah.
A while ago.
Yeah. A while ago.
I missed a sign. I'm sorry.
We got to turn around and come back.
We did not take a turn.
So again, it's an example of something inside between the two of you. It's your own personal little joke.
Do you hold on to any regret of not telling her before you guys got married? Or do you gotta, think that things would have turned out differently if he had told you before y'all got married?
No, for me, no. I would have still married him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I love him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, hindsight's always 20/20.
Always.
But look, the way it's turned out, I mean, obviously, that's 5 more years of, we could have been further down the road.
Yeah.
And but having said that, I mean, the trial of going through it and everything again together, I think probably strengthened our relationship. And not to say that if I hadn't told her like 4 or 5 years earlier before we were married, that we wouldn't have gone through this,
right.
And we wouldn't have gathered that strength. But, I can say that, it was, and to be honest with you, that trial and tribulation has stood us well throughout the years and the things that we've gone through outside life. Mm-hmm. Nothing to do with us or with our lifestyle, but or our preferences, but just with life. And it's helped us come together and find our way through all kinds of things, whether it's family, whether it's medical, professional. It has really kind of bonded us as a team. It's me and her against the world.
And I will say one good thing, communication. Communication. Because what I'm thinking and what he is thinking or feeling are 2 different things. and we need to communicate. And once we learned how to do that, for example, I was so vanilla when we got married. I knew, and I'd been married before. I knew nothing. And I knew there was something different about him. I didn't know what. I couldn't put my finger on it, but I knew there was something there that I liked. Obviously, I fell in love with him, but he didn't know how to communicate that to me. And I didn't know how to communicate to him as to what I wanted or what I needed. So we lived in this world for 5 years where I kind of knew something, but you can't put your finger quite on it. And then when it finally came out and we discussed it. So now if there's something different or something wrong, I can almost look in his eyes and I know immediately that there's something wrong. And I'm like, okay, we need to talk about this right now.
That's true.
Yeah, I can tell it on his face. And I'm like, we need to discuss this now before it goes any further, because you may not be here tomorrow, and we're going to make sure we get this out in the open now. Yeah. So communication is the key, especially in this lifestyle, because if you don't discuss it immediately, it festers and then it could get ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You referenced earlier that it's hard to find time in your day-to-day life to do the kink.
Yeah.
How, since you guys made this transition together and all of the things, how has your sex life changed at all? Do you guys still have vanilla sex? Or is it always kink now? Or how, was there any evolution as far as the intersection between those two things?
My guess is 70%, 80% of our sex is vanilla sex.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's almost like we still have to make an appointment now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For kink or for sex?
For kink.
For both?
For kink.
No, for kink.
Okay.
Because it may be a month or 2 months, and then it'll be, okay, it's time now. Yeah. So
It's a great stress relief.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll mark it on the calendar. I'll say, okay, well, Wednesday night, we're going to be home alone. You put the dildo that you would like on the bed, and that's my sign. And then we just take it from there.
Yeah.
And so just give me a sign, but it's going to be Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's basically what we have to do, because I have to mentally get prepared for it.
Definitely.
Because it's something that, some people may think about it all the time, and it would probably be more natural for them. For me, I have to think about it for a minute and work it through the scenario in my head, what we're going to do, what we're going to talk about. And then he loves electricity. Well, like I said, that should then come with instructions. Right. I got to get all the wires untangled, got to get it all out. And
with the violet wand and
whatnot. Yeah, and make sure everything's clean, because that's so important to us, is everything has to be sterile. It takes a while. So, we make a date. Yeah. We have date night.
Yeah.
But it's kink night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that goes back to what we were talking about, the difference between professional and amateur. Is like she said, with professional, it's like there's a date, there's a time, and both parties know ahead of time what they're going to do. So the mistress has the chance to, she figures out what her scenario is. And so everybody's kind of on the same page. But if it's with every day with this, it's like, okay, are you in the mood? Is work getting you down? Are you going to be able to do this? Or what about this? And we're going to do this. And then if it's going to involve pegging, there's some prep that I have to do as far as, cleaning myself. So it's not exactly, you just jump right into it. Yeah. You have to prep for it and everything else. Right. So it takes a lot of spontaneity out of it. But still, that doesn't mean it's not fun. It's just not spontaneous.
Yeah.
You have to do some planning and everything else.
Yeah. What does, I would love to get into specifics. So like what kind of kink do you guys do together? We've already mentioned pegging a little bit, and we've mentioned electrical play.
Yeah.
What else do you guys like to do together, or what do you really, love, or what do you get out of it,
Well, he like I said, he's kind of a pain slut. Not a whole lot. I love getting out my whips and paddles and things, because when you hear that crack of the whip, that's
yeah. Instantly hard, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then sensation. He likes sensation, so we do a lot of touchy-feely, take our time, things of that nature. It's usually me doing it to him, because I don't like to be spanked. I'm not into pain. You know, I'm one of the, I like touchy-feely, massage me, relax me, you know, let's just get all oily and slishy together and let's just smoosh all around. He likes a little bit rougher than that. So, he likes ball play.
CBT.
Yeah, he loves to be in chastity. So, like, if I have to come to Atlanta with the girls, I'll make sure he's in chastity. Before
and chastity just means, like, in a cock cage and can't get hard, can't come until she gets back with the key.
With the
right?
key.
Yeah.
With the
Correct.
key. Yeah.
Correct. And with his job, sometimes it was very difficult to put him in chastity while he was working. So we used to have to work around his days off. But now that we're both retired, it's like, okay. Let's see. We got like October was Locktober. So
fun.
Yeah, all month in October, you know.
And then she's really gone. It turns into no November.
Yeah, no November. But then Christmas comes and it's like, oh yay.
But the funny thing about chastity and is that I lose out, but then she does too, to a certain extent. Mm-hmm. So it could be a double-edged sword.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a little bit of the topping from the bottom that we were talking about earlier.
Somebody gets it. That's right. I have my vibrator.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. That's
true. And yeah, that's true. But nothing beats a high hard one.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, nothing beats the real thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's why it's the real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not Memorex. It's the real thing.
So with where you guys are at right now, and I mean, you guys, one of you kind of alluded to it earlier of, you know, we could be 5 more years, you know, into our journey together or whatever. Is there anywhere that you are looking forward to next, or something, you know, somewhere that you want to get better at, or you still feel like you're not great at yet, or, you know, what's next for you in your journey together that you're excited about?
You know, with me, it's just more the journey. I mean, I don't know where, you know, 5 years, God knows where it could be. I mean, life is funny. It takes its twists and turns. I enjoy where we're at, but I don't want to stay static. You know, let's see what else. I mean, and part of this also is for her. She's still exploring and learning. So I think probably she may answer it better because she still has a lot more to learn.
Yeah.
So,
but I think that's the beauty of sexuality in general, to me at least, is that sexuality, whatever you're doing within it, is always. There's always something else to learn.
Correct.
You're never going to know all of it, right?
Exactly.
Like, I mean, you're a decade in,
right,
and there's still so much to learn.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm, you know, however, like everyone I think can say that. You, slut boy, even though you've been doing it for decades and decades, have so much to learn. I can only imagine, right? Because I mean, anything can be a kink.
Oh yeah,
anything can turn you on.
It seems like people are finding new kinks every day. I guess.
It's true.
So.
It's incredible.
Yeah. And don't let age be an issue for you, because you know, I think old people don't want to have sex. You know, they don't do sex. You know, blah blah blah. Bullshit. Yeah. I'm throwing the bullshit flag down. Older people need attention just as much as younger people do. I mean, we may not be able to go as long, but
we still enjoy it.
Yeah. And like you said, there's always something new to learn. This man is always on the computer. He's always researching. He's always looking for different things.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he's always saying, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? You know, like the hot wife thing. And, you know, I'm not really... It's okay, but it's like you get a get out of jail free card and you get to go have sex with a different man. I mean, that's pretty awesome. That's amazing that your husband will allow you to do that. And it's kind of hot, but having random sex with somebody that I don't have feelings with or don't know very well just isn't a thing for me.
Yeah.
And then we just found a new munch group. Where we live.
Yeah.
A munch is where other people with certain likes, kinks, sometimes they're swingers, which is totally different than the scene with the kinksters. But we go to the munches, which is really nice because you meet a lot of different people, a lot of different personalities. And then you get to sit and talk with them like we're talking tonight, and you learn all different things. And I'm like, I never thought of that. That's a good idea. So you get to learn from other people and gather their information. And it's very helpful. And it's nice to have somebody that you can talk to. I mean, this is something that you can't go to your mom and say, Mom, you're not going to believe what Slut Boy and I just talked about. I need some advice, and there's not a book out there that, like I said, has instructions about this. So you really need to put yourself around people, that you have a relationship with, that you feel trustworthy with, and you can have a conversation and you can learn a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of on that topic, what has really helped is, like she said, the group of women that and I guess the thing about it is they're real people. I mean, like she said, you can learn so much from a book, but you can just learn so much from a book. I mean, nothing beats being able to talk to people about their experiences, about their likes, about their dislikes, and it just helps a lot to have to listen to other people and their stories, and that's kind of what I'm glad about with her group of ladies from Atlanta, is that she's been able to learn from them in real life stories, not just something. The problem with the internet is you can't believe everything that was written about. It's like even Abe Lincoln said you can't believe the internet, so it's true. So nothing beats real life experiences from real people.
And Riley, Goddess Samantha, Mistress Ein, and yourself, we've been involved in some really awesome things here in Atlanta, and I love it because you guys are my peeps now, and we have bonded, and I hope and feel if any of us have issues, we can pick up the phone and call each other and go, dude, I need your help, and things of that, and that's important. Because sometimes this lifestyle can be a little scary. You meet people that just aren't as nice as you thought they were, and you need your group of people to protect you from that. I just wish I had lived closer. Although Mr. Shine has moved halfway around the world now, but I see,
Details.
I know, and you're gone and around and about, but I'm going to catch up with you this summer.
Yes.
And, Goddess Samantha being down here in Atlanta, I see, us get together and do some things together. So, it's nice to have that friendship and that,
camaraderie.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And it's empowering, and it's inspiring, and it's motivational, and it nothing, like it's only good things that come from it, and it and all of it benefits Slut Boy. Right?
Know.
Yeah.
Like truly, like their Mistress Ein and Goddess Samantha's experiences in being professional dominatrixes can only better inform and inspire you. And when they have you in on sessions, and when they do sessions with you both, that only is part of the journey. That only continues to build up. Right?
Yeah. You're exactly. And also we go down to Mexico a lot. There's a place down there that we go to.
Like a resort or something?
A resort, yeah. And it's nude. No, it's clothing optional, but they have nights. Well, they'll have different scenarios every night. Like it'll be white night or kink night or whatever. And what really makes me happy is and I hate to say this, the amateurs come out. You know, they're all dressed up and they know what they're doing and stuff. And then I walk in the room with my whip, and I crack it, and they all kind of look at me like, uh-oh, it just got serious up in here, you know, and guys are going, do me. I'm like, I said, I'm more than willing to, but you have to be prepared for this.
Yeah.
And we've met several couples that have truly enjoyed what we've done for them. And that makes me feel happy.
How amazing is that?
Because they kind of said, well, I never really knew that I liked that. You know, and then all of a sudden you see the sparkle in their eye, and I go, you got it, didn't you? And sometimes we keep in touch with them, and they're like, we can't go back. We can't wait to go back to Mexico, you know. And I said, well, good for you. Yeah. So
that's really cool.
It is cool because then I get to be the teacher. Yeah. And I get to show people what I've learned. Yeah. And that makes me happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned this earlier. Older people want to have sex too, and we're also sexual creatures, and you know, like whatever. Like, I would be interested in hearing more of your experience, of both of your experiences of like getting older and being in aging bodies, and how is that changing, and how does that affect your libido and your sexuality and your sex life together, or you know, just solo with yourself. Like,
Well, when women get older, personally, I desire more sex.
Yeah?
Yes, I do.
I was not expecting that.
I know.
Cool. That's cool.
Yeah. See what you have to look forward to?
Yeah. But men usually...
It takes me all night to do what I once did all night.
Right. No. Forget that.
Oh, what? Okay.
Yeah. And you know, I mean, I've had 2 hip replacements, so it takes me a while to get my body back in shape. And I'm pretty athletic, so that kind of helps. But my libido has always kind of been the same unless I'm under duress. I mean, if I'm stressed out or there's something really serious, it's like, But even in this older body, I'm like, my brain still thinks like I'm in my 30s. And I'm always like, okay, let's go.
I think that's the key to it, is it's your brain and what you think. I think anybody that thinks that sex ends at 60 hasn't been 60.
Right.
I mean, you know, and there are people as they get older that, for whatever, the question is do they lose the desire for sex, or do they lose the desire for the other person?
For the partner.
For the partner. Is it allowed to just be good? And again, your marriage, you know, your mileage may vary it varies from couple to couple. But you know, the spirit is always in the spirit. Let's put it this way. I hope the spirit is always there, because that's living. Yeah. I mean, that's living life to the fullest.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, it's like, you know, I'm in my 70s now, and no, I can't go out and run 5 or 10 miles, but I can walk it, you know, and still enjoy it. Yeah. So the same thing is true.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the other thing is for women is, I had to have a hysterectomy, years and years and years ago because of a cancer call. And I'm dry. I need lube. And sometimes I'm embarrassed by that because my body doesn't act like it's supposed to. But yeah, so I'm just like, okay. And I go to my doctor, and she looks at me like, oh, you're still sexually active? I'm like, of course I am.
Yes.
Yes. And I need some help here. Yeah. You know, and it's embarrassing to talk to your doctor about it when they think just because I'm 66, I'm not having sex anymore. Ugh. I'm like,
that's
first
offensive.
of all, you should. It is.
Right. To make that kind of assumption.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. Yeah. And I need something for that, you know, because there's medication out there for older women that have dryness, just like a man can take a pill.
Right. Right.
Because, you know, he has problems with
erectile.
That. Blah, blah, blah. but they can't get an erection.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? Hey, pharmaceuticals, that's what they're there for.
Yeah.
And don't be embarrassed to ask for it.
Bodies are the most natural thing, right?
Yes.
Like, not being able to get up every single time or not being able to get super flooded every single time is perfectly natural.
Yes. Yes.
Not orgasming every time is perfectly natural.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing to be embarrassed about, and there's nothing to be offended about.
Correct.
You know?
I mean, we can't go for hours anymore.
Right.
You know? I mean,
But that doesn't mean you don't enjoy
that's right.
the experience.
And I may need a nap afterwards, but
Yeah.
hey, I'm good on it. I'm good.
There are ways around everything. It's just how hard you want to try.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And you
Well,
gotta
that
have the
effort.
desire, and you know, just because you're older, you don't lose the desire. And I think that, and Slut Boy here touched on it, is like, if you're not interested in your partner any longer, then that becomes an issue. But for us, because I can go and not necessarily have different partners, but I can do stuff to other people, and as a dom, and that's a turn on for him. Okay, he knows that when I'm in a session, what I'm doing, and he's like, "Damn, that lucky bastard," you know. So, and that's a turn on for him, which is great because then he wants me even more.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it sounds like BDSM really is like kept that spark
It does.
even more
It does.
alive.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a shark. If you aren't swimming, you're dying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, to say if something happened to Slut Boy, would I still want to pursue this lifestyle? And I was confronted with that because we almost lost him. And I thought, I don't know if I could do this lifestyle without him being by my side, because he's a huge supporter. You know,
The impetus.
Yeah.
The original impetus. Yeah.
Hey,
The
be careful.
catalyst.
What he used to always tell me: be careful what you wish for, because if you get it, you're gonna have to live with it. So now he has to live with me. So this is all your fault.
That's okay. I'll take the blame. I got no problem with it.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you say that you're not sure if you would still be in the lifestyle without Slut Boy. I think that's really interesting because, I mean, it almost begs the question, are you doing it for him? But I can tell that's not the case either.
Right.
Right.
I just don't know if I would find the joy in it that I do now, because I know he finds the joy in it.
Yeah.
And I've thought about it, and you know, and that question does come up. Do you do it because of him, or do you do it because you like it? And
Both.
the answer is both.
Yeah.
You know, would I have done this lifestyle without him? Probably not.
Yeah.
But now that I'm here, it's like, okay,
Yeah. Rock on.
rock on. Yeah. So until the day we die, sweetie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Me and you. Well, and like I said, it's us against the world.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, you know.
And I will mention that a family member found out about this lifestyle
Oh.
by accident,
Yeah.
which it's very difficult to figure this out accidentally, and they gave me a hard time about it. But I think once the shock wears off, I mean, then we can have an adult conversation about it, and you know, hopefully they'll understand the passion that I feel for this, for Slut Boy and I, and that they will go, oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
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 So,
Well, yeah, I mean, like we were talking about this earlier, and it's two consenting adults doing
I'm
things
over
together.
21.
Yeah, you're both retired. You're not going to lose your job over it.
Yeah.
You know, you're
Yeah.
not going to get divorced because you're doing it together.
Exactly.
You know, you're out and open and honest and all the things. So
I mean, I really don't have anything to hide.
yeah,
But I mean, some things between us are private.
Yeah.
And yeah, I throw it out there on Twitter, because that's what we do.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know,
That's what we do.
I know, that's what we do. We just throw it out there on Twitter and see what falls.
Well, thank you guys so much for sitting down and doing this with me. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention while we're sitting here, or is it okay to go ahead and wrap it up?
Well, I just want to say this is our story, and I know that there's a lot of people out there that are faced with this story, and I just want the people that listen to this podcast to be understanding and see both sides of the story before you run away. It's not as scary as you think it is. It's not perverted as you think it is. And you just have to listen and get a little knowledge, and hopefully that will help understand this lifestyle and not run away from it just because things are scary when you don't understand it. But once you learn, it's different. You know, you don't have to participate in it, but it's not worth losing your partner over or your life over because you don't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know there's a lot of people out there that happens to. And I understand why it took Slut Boy so long to tell me, because he didn't want to lose me. And once he told me, I understood it. So my recommendation is, please don't panic. Do some research. Communication is key before you make that fatal step.
And see if there's somewhere where you guys can meet in the middle.
Correct.
About it. Yeah.
Correct. I mean, it's
And
not
that
the
you
end
can
of
get
the
something
world.
out of it too, right?
Yeah, it's not the end of the world, and you can get something out of it. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. You don't have to participate in it, but that doesn't mean your spouse is any different.
Yeah.
Because they're not.
Yeah.
This is just their passion. This is what they have, their deep, dark secrets. And if you can't share your deep, dark secrets with your spouse, who can you share them with?
Right.
So,
Well, thank you both so much.
well, thank
Our
you,
pleasure.
Riley.
I'm surprised you're interested, but we're glad to share.
I am not the only one, I promise.
That's what's so funny is like I said, this is our story, and it's different, but it's unique to us. But if it can help somebody else,
Yeah.
we'll power.
Yeah.
They are such beautiful humans. I really adore them, and I really appreciate how open they were about every facet of their journey together, and sharing that with us. I am still endlessly blown away by the fact that Goddess B was able to kind of put aside her own hurt, or at least not put aside, but see past it and see the bigger picture, and come from a place of curiosity and interest and love for her partner, and be able to do her best to see things from his perspective and recognize that there was no intention to hurt her or betray her. It was from a place of fear, and understandably so. And somehow they were able to get through that together. I am in awe. I am in awe. Goddess B is such a strong woman, and I really, really admire her for that. So thank you again for sitting down with me, guys. I love you so much. So next episode, I'll be talking with Lilith in Decatur, Georgia, and she talks about how she was sex trafficked and lived in that world for about 10 years. It's a pretty intense conversation, but I think a really, really important one to shine some light on and become better aware of, because that is still happening around the world right now, this very second, and it's just simply not talked about enough. So I hope you join me next episode when that comes out. And until we talk again, stay awesome, friends.